Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is one of the most effective books to learn Arabic language in a short time, but it's so saddening that you find a lot of people complaining that they have learned the book, DURUS LUGHAH العربية لغير الناطقين بها. This book, they complain. I've read the book 1, 2, and 3, part 1 to 3, and I can't still speak Arabic language, or I cannot understand Arabic language. So, and in fact, I was teaching somebody, and the person was telling me that I've learned this book before, but your approach to teaching this book is so different. Many of these things you are explaining to me in this book, I've never thought of them. And in fact, the person who taught me this book didn't explain all these things. So for that reason, inshallah, in this video, we're going to discuss how to learn this book or how to teach the book. So this video is going to be useful for anybody who wants to teach the book, or for anybody who wants to learn the book by himself or from someone else. So first thing you need to know that if you want to learn this book, don't learn it from anybody who didn't read the book. The fact that the person understands Arabic, can speak fluent Arabic, doesn't mean that the person can teach you the book. So if you want to learn this book or any other book, you should learn it from anybody who have learned the book before. So even if your ustaz is very good in Arabic language or very good in that field, but haven't read the book you want to learn from him, let the ustaz read the book first before teaching you, or the ustaz reading each chapter first before coming to teach you. So that's the first thing you need. The person who have learned the book should be the one to teach you the book. Then, as a teacher or a learner, you need to understand that this book is divided into 3. Each lesson in the book, except for few lessons, each lesson basically in this book is divided into 3. The first one, which is the hiwar, the conversation. In this conversation, you learn basic Arabic word structures or sentence structures, basic Arabic sentence structures, how to use basic vocabularies, and how to use phrases, basic phrases in Arabic language. That's what you will learn in the hiwar, the conversation part. The second part, which is the tamarin, which are exercises. Many students used to leave tamarin, and tamarin is the most important part or aspect of each lessons in this book. So in tamarin, you are going to learn basic grammars, how to use them, those grammar, and also how to use some terminologies in Arabic language, some words or some phrases, how to use them. So many people don't know those things. Some people just feel like, well, these are just exercises that have to do with if I understand the lesson or not. No, sometimes the exercise is not about if you understand the conversation. In fact, the first and second exercises alone is about understanding the conversation. Every other exercise in the book is teaching you how to use Arabic language, how to use a word, how to use a phrase, how to use a terminology. That's what you are going to learn, and also grammar. So you learn grammar in this book without knowing that you are learning grammar, because the approach to learning grammar in this book is a practical one. So you learn grammar in a practical way. You are learning grammar without even knowing that you are learning grammar. So it teaches you how to use them. So after learning this, when you go through the tamarin of this book, you don't find that problem of knowing grammar and don't know how to use them. So that's why you see, anybody who went through this book in a proper way and learned this book will never have the problem of, I learned Arabic grammar, but I'm finding it difficult to apply them while speaking. So you need to understand the approach of the book to teaching grammar is a practical way of learning grammar. So you are learning grammar in a more practical way. And also about the tamarin, you need to know also morphology, which is sort of, we call it in Arabic language. You also learn all these things in the tamarin. So you know that tamarin is, or the tamarin, the exercises are the 70% of the book. The other 30% is just the hiwar, the conversation, and then the last part, which is al-kalimat al-jadida. Now the last part, al-kalimat al-jadida, which is making it easy for you to learn and memorize the new words that you come across. So, for example, you learn lesson 1, you learn some words and while learning the conversation and also the usage of language. Then at the end of lesson 2, they will bring back all the new words you come across that you didn't learn in lesson 1. They will bring them for easy memorization and understanding and also um, easy preservation. So that's also very important. Then you need to know how to learn vocabulary. You also learn that in this book. Learning vocabulary, you need to take certain steps. The first step of learning a vocabulary is for you to hear it from the Arab saying it, or for you to find it in a book, or you hear an expert, somebody who understands Arabic language very well, speaking Arabic language and mention the word you want to learn. Then you note the word, you ask for the meaning. So you come across words in the conversation, you get the meaning, your ustaz, the person teaching you, tell you the meaning, or you look for your dictionary to get the meaning of the word. So that's the first step. So some students go directly to dictionary to pick words. It is not good to learn vocabulary in that manner. You don't just go to dictionary randomly, open and look for a word to memorize. No, you should listen to the word. You should have heard the word from somebody, or you find it in a book you are learning, or you find it in the Quran, the book you can depend on. Then you look for the meaning. After looking for the meaning, you are done with the second step. The first step is to get the word. The second step is to get the meaning. The third step is you look how this vocabulary was used in sentences of other people who are experts. Either you find it in the Quran, you look how was the word, the vocabulary used in the Quran, or you find it in this book, you learn how was it used in this book, or you heard somebody using the particular word, you ask the person, or you note how the person used the word. Then the next step is to practice it. You repeat it, you say it out, you pronounce it. You don't just learn words and keep them to yourself. You have to practice how to pronounce them, how to use them in sentences. You pronounce them, you put them in different sentences of your own initiative. You have to create your own sentences as you learn the words, using the words. So don't wait till when you want to speak, then you'll be looking for the words and you can't find them. So many of us will learn words, we didn't practice them. So when we speak, we find it difficult to remember these words because we have not been using them. So one of the approach to learn vocabulary in this book that we learn from this book is that you follow these steps that we have mentioned. The steps are not written in the book, but for somebody who have went through the book, I understand these steps because this is the way the book teaches Arabic language. So you will learn vocabulary, which is the last part of the book. Then let's talk about the division of the book. The book is divided into part 1, 2, and 3. And some other copies you find part 1, 2, 3, 4. The one we call part 3 sometimes is been divided into 2. So that's why you have part 1, 2, 3. Part 1 is for the beginner level, where you learn basically words, vocabularies. That's the only thing you learn there. Then little grammar, maybe how to use harf jarri are very important. Idafa, you learn mamnu min as-sarf, names of feminine, how they are used, and you learn basic things. Mubtada wa khabar, simple sentence structure in Arabic language. While in part 2, you learn advanced vocabularies, you learn advanced grammar, talking about inna wa akhwatuha, kana wa akhwatuha, and also the type of verbs we have in Arabic language. We have fi'l naqis, mithal, al-ajwaf, fi'l mu'tal, sahih, all these kind of verbs, you learn them. Why in book 3, the first thing you will learn is a summary of grammar. You know, you have been learning grammar in book 2. So in book 3, they summarize everything you have learned, which you talk about al-i'rab wal-bina. So you summarize all the grammar rules you have learned in book 3. So you have learned the practical. Now in book 3, all the grammar rules you have learned in book 2. So in book 2, you have learned the practical, how to use them. Now in book 3, they bring the theory so that you can remember them. So And very important also, this is for the teachers. If you go through the book 3, the Muqaddimah, which is the introduction to the book, the author mentions something which is very important to know before teaching this book or before learning this book, where he say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen, that all praises is to Allah and salutations to the noblest of mankind, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Then he said, أما بعد، فهذا هو الجزء الثالث من كتاب الدروس لغة العربية لغير الناطقين بها. That you should note that this is the part 3, the third volume of the book دروس لغة العربية لغير الناطقين بها، وهو ليس كتاب النحو فحسب. It is not just a book of Nahu, not just a book of syntax, not just that. إنما هو كتاب شامل لتعليم اللغة العربية بنحوها وصرفها ومفرداتها وجوانبها الأخرى. That is not just book of grammar, it is a book that teaches Arabic language, or a book for learning Arabic language with its nahu, with its syntax, sarf, morphology, wa mufradatiha, and its vocabularies, wa jawanibiha al-ukhra, and other aspect of Arabic language that you go through in this book. فينبغي أن يعنى بهذه الجوانب. It is very most important to give more attention to this other aspect of Arabic language, which is how to use vocabularies, how to use some sentences, how to use some phrases. كلها عند الشرح. While explaining this book, it is very most important to pay attention to this aspect of language you mentioned, which is syntax, morphology, vocabularies, sentence structures, and the rest. ونرى أن يراعي المعلم الأمور الآتية عند تدريس هذا الكتاب. And the author is saying, we find it very important that the teacher should notice or should work with the following things we want to mention. The first one is يمهد لمسائل الرئيسة الواردة في الدرس من غير النظر في الكتاب. Before teaching the book, the teacher should give an introduction to what will be taught in every lesson without looking at the book. So before teaching the student, you say, okay, we want to take lesson 1. Lesson 1, we are going to talk about this, and that. You give summary to the student to prepare the mind of the student for what they are going to come across in the book. Then they say, يقرأ الدرس. Then the teacher will read the lesson, or he will ask the student to read any of the method. You read or you ask the student to read. And it is good if you can combine the both. Sometimes you read and you ask them to read, or every time you will read and you ask the student to also read, so that you will be able to correct their mistake maybe in pronunciation. So if they have any. وفي أثناء القراءة نشير إلى المسائل التي سبق أن شرحها. While reading the lessons, you will point out the issues he have mentioned before reading the book. ويشرح المسائل الفرعية التي لم يتطرق إليها في التمهيد. Then he will explain other issues he didn't mention, other secondary issues. He will only mention the primary issues at the beginning of the lesson, then explain other secondary issues that are related to the topic or to the lesson they are learning. ويوجه إلى الطلاب أسئلة لتأكد من فهمهم هذه المسائل. Then he will throw questions to the students so that you'll be able to ascertain if the students understand the masail, the issues at hand. Then the third thing, يقوم مجموعات من الطلاب بتمثيل الدرس. If you have more than 2 students that you are teaching, then this is the best. So you take darus, you take hiwar, then after the hiwar, after explanation, you tell your group of students to come and display what they have learned. This person will be Zayd, the other person will be Amr, the other person will be Mudarris, and they will display what they have learned in the book, like uh, acting it as if it's a movie, but not actually a movie. And this is to make the language more practical for them. Then the last thing is يشترك الطلاب في حل جميع التمارين شفويا. All students should participate in solving the questions in tamarin, in the exercises. Shafawiyan, orally, they have to say it, not just written. They will write and they will also have to say that. Saying it is what is more important. Oral attempt to solving the problems in the exercises. And after the class, they will go out and also solve the problems tahririyan, writing it. They will write it, and so that they will also practice how to write in Arabic language. I didn't sit before anybody to learn how to write Arabic. I learned how to write Arabic by solving the tamarin in this book, and that was how I was able to learn how to write Arabic language. So I hope with this we will find it more easier to learn the book and know what we have to pay attention to while learning the book, and we benefit a lot of benefit that is in the book. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it more easier for us to understand the language of the Quran so that we understand the religion of Allah. And also the author of the book is late now. I think a year ago he passed, he returned to his Lord. May Allah forgive him and continue to extend the reward to him. Wassalamu alaikum.